I've seen Kaz fire a couple times live in Afghanistan, which was sick,
Mhm.
including a Kiowa warrior with the passenger shooting his M4 out the door.
Nice.
Insane. Uh, we showed up to somebody else had been engaged, and we showed up. It was the National Guard unit down the street from us, and we were basically their first call because we're 3 miles away. So we rolled up in force, everything we had. Hey, what's going on? They had been overrun kind of during the night where a dude threw grenades into their sleeping area, fucked over the Afghan police that were there, fucked over the American troops. One lady, all her fingers were missing, but her thumbs
Oh,
from
God.
shrapnel, just like how the grenade landed. I don't know how she was sleeping or what, but like we showed up at the crack of dawn basically to respond to this. Hey, so all this is going on. They come over the radio all crazy, roll out, get there. But before, we had seen any of the wounded or transport anybody helicopters locked on the landing zone. Remind me, I was on Inside Combat Rescue for this.
Mhm.
The I pull up in an MRAP, and it's a mine resistant ambush protected vehicle. It's the Puma. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's a 4-door truck with like a kind of weird pickup bed in the back. And
Yeah.
I opened the door, and the ones we had, the doors opened suicide style or whatever, so like
Mhm.
backwards, so you could walk out basically. And it's kind of a drop to the ground. They got like 35, 40-inch tires. I go to get out. Hey, Garcia, fucking security right. I'm like, all right, Roger. I open the door. I step out. I get caught. I don't know, seatbelt or whatever. I had my M4 clipped onto my shoulder at the time, and then I had it in like a C thing. So it just hold my M4 basically, right here along my body. But I was carrying a saw for this mission because it's
Mhm.
like I'm
You
going to be
need a
the one
link.
to secure the center of the landing zone, and then vehicles will be spread out around. And then once the security's set, then I can pick up and go. But I was basically looking off into the unknown where rifle fire was coming from or whatever. I get out of the vehicle, I fall. And along the roads in Afghanistan, wherever there's like paved roads, there's these paved gutters. If you've been to any, I don't like saying it, but third world country, if you've been to any third world country, they have those cheap gutter systems. So
Mhm.
it's just like maybe a foot wide and like 2 or 3 feet deep, just full of
Mhm.
shit and like water and whatever. Everything just drains into there. I fell, my head's right over that. But I shot my saw on accident. Couple round bursts. Nobody heard anything. There's gunfire and helicopters. Apache, or not Apache, it's a Blackhawk comes over the top, and I don't know if it's a show of force or whatever, like whatever it is. I'm like frozen in time. There's a few moments where like time has slowed down for me, and I'm just like, what? Like this is wild. My head's above this shit ditch, and I'm looking up. I see way far above an Apache, and they're all loaded for bear, so they got all the rockets, all the everything. I see the Blackhawk circling, and then there's another one that's like 100 feet above me. It's right up, right on the deck. He's flying over, and he dumps his flares. So I don't know if it's like a show, like just flex or whatever, but he came in
Mhm.
hot, and he was going to be the one to land on the LZ where I was going to go basically post up, but they were early, so we didn't have security set for the medevac, the Kazivac, whatever it is. And I shoot myself off. I'm like, oh, boof, boof, boof. The flares come out. I'm completely deaf. I didn't have I had like my ear pro, like the
Mhm.
Peltor like pass throughs. I had them off my ears. So I get everything. I hear the saw. I'm like, ooh, I'm all deaf. The flares. I'm in the ditch. I get up. I end up running over there. I mean, that was wild to me that they dumped the flares right above basically our line of vehicles and everybody getting out
Alright.
to rush this
Was it
field.
was it still dark when you went in there?
No, that was like the sun had just come up, so it was like gray,
Okay. So he was
and there was
just
like big
flexing.
dust. There was kind of like dust in the air from like storms, and then the helicopters were kicking up a fucking mess, and there was like 6 of them, and then the Apaches above that basically put security and report down. Um, yeah, that's kind of long winded, but I pulled security on that center. I laid down a VS-17 panel, which is a bright reflective panel that we use to signal the army, and I post up with the saw. I'm just looking out here like, oh my god, oh baby, like all amped up. And
Mhm.
I'm basically the furthest one. The vehicles start filling in around the LZ. I get a call on the radio, Garcia, move. I roll over basically because it's dust everywhere. I roll over and there's a Blackhawk like about to land on me. So I basically combat roll out of there, and I scurried away. But
He's a combat
there's a
rolled out of there.
yeah, just like a hot dog. I rolled
Yeah.
away with the saw and ran back to the
He
vehicles
said, "I was in the
towards.
military. It was active combat. It was a tactical role.
Yes, it
It was a
was. I probably
tactical
looked
hot
really
dog."
silly, but like the the show Inside Combat Rescue had their cameras on those medevac helicopters or Kazovac. I don't know if I'm saying the wrong one. There's a
You
difference.
said the
But
show.
Inside Combat Rescue.
Okay, so that's an actual
Did,
television show.
yeah, I'm sure I have the episode saved, but you can like barely see me roll away, and they were laughing because like they had come back. We had met those like the pilots later, and they're like, bro, you were the dude. We know you. Like, you're famous. Like, you were the dude under the fucking helicopter. We were gonna kill you. Like, we didn't realize you were there until like last second. Like, I guess the air controller guy was like telling them like, hey, there's a soldier there. Don't land. Don't land. We're trying to get a hold of him.
Oh,
And this whole time I'm oblivious. I'm just locked in on the saw dust storm.
no
I'm
hearing.
not realizing that some of the dust is from the fucking helicopter landing on me. I didn't feel the pressure of the damn 90 miles an hour of
You
downforce.
just had that much adrenaline in your system.
Yeah, but they were laughing. They were like, yeah, way to go, bud. You saved the day. But we ended up moving people on litters to those helicopters. The lady with no fingers, a
No
couple dudes were just kind of
fingers,
fucked up, shrapnel.
just
One
thumbs.
civilian contractor died, and we just took his body bag, and like they took all the wounded, and they didn't have any more space. It was like a lot of people. Helicopters left, and we had this body bag, and we're carrying it into the vehicle. I'm like, what the, like into a Max Pro. Anybody in the military knows what I'm talking about, or the Army, but we carry the body bag in, and they're like, hey, we got to go to this big fob. I think it was where Mochi lived. I don't remember what it was called, but we had to stop there because they had ice, and we had to fill the body bag with ice, which was pretty morbid. And like, that wasn't fun. That was kind of shitty, but like everybody survived, but the one civilian contractor, which was kind of whack. But we ended
And
up
then
taking
there
him
was
out of
that
there,
lady
and then
who
he got back to his
lost all her
family.
fingers. That was rough.
Yeah, that's probably like my favorite story, just because it's like wild, and then it has that tie into Inside Combat
Yeah,
Rescue.
yeah. I mean, you got to send that to me because I got to see this
I'm in
man
the background
do
of
a
some
tactical
shots.
hot
It's
dog.
like you can see like my section leader. It's Sergeant Fulmer, and he runs up to the copter, and they have cameras. We didn't know at the time. He's like,
Mhm.
hey, oh, we got this many wounded, and then he big goofy tall dude. And then you see I have a tattoo on my leg with my section at the time, Pythia. You see him carrying like clearly because it's like dusty and shit. You